identify and maximize your genius. Your genius is your gift, it is your talent, it is the thing that you do well, it is the thing that you do well naturally. Just as it is important for you to identify that which impedes you, you also have to identify that which propels you.
Salutations and great day to all. You are now watching The Empowerment Zone, and I'm your host, David Carruthers. On tonight's show, our subject matter is Live Your Dreams. Live Your Dreams. The reason why I chose this topic, because I think this is an important topic. I think it's important for us to say that to our friends. I think it's important for us to say that to our children. And the reason why I say live your dreams and not your goals is because usually the dreams are bigger than the goals. But here's what I'm finding out. I'm finding out that when you talk to people about their dreams, they get excited about their dreams and they start talking about their dreams, and then they go, but it will probably never happen because I don't have the money. And so with the same excitement that they talk about with their dreams, they now talk themselves out of it. And so today we're going to be talking about living your dreams, and we're going to give you some steps, and we're going to give you some tools on how you can live your dreams. So first of all, if you're going to live your dreams, it's going to start with your thinking. It's going to start with your thinking. One of my favorite scriptures says, "Now unto him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ask or think, according to the power that worketh within us." So let's break that down. Now unto him. So him is God. Now unto him. He's able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all we can ask or think. But that is contingent upon what we ask, and it's contingent upon what we think. And so the question is, what are you asking? What are you thinking? Because 9 times out of 10, it's probably too small. So if you're going to live your dreams, one, it's going to start with your thinking. This reminds me of a story. I was reading this book, and the story basically says that there was this, I think it was in China or in Hong Kong, and this guy had a tattoo shop. And the tattoo shop, it said, tattoos all over the body. You can tattoo your arms. You can tattoo a mermaid on your leg. You can tattoo all this stuff anywhere on your body. And then he had these words in terms of the tattoo. It said, "Born to lose." Born to lose. And so a guy had looked at that and said, are there people that actually get that tattoo on their body? And the Chinese man said, yes. And then the guy said, I can't believe that someone would actually tattoo that on their body. And then the Chinese guy said in broken English, before tattooed on the body, tattooed first on the mind. See, what are you thinking? Sean Puffy has a commercial, and he says, you are whatever you think you are. If you want to be rich, then you have to think that you're rich, and you have to be rich before you get there. You can't wait. You can't wait to get rich or to be rich before you start acting like. As a man thinketh, so is he. So the first thing, if you're going to live your dreams, it's going to start with your thinking. And if you're going to renew your mind in terms of your thinking, then, it starts with your confession in terms of the things that you say and you think about yourself. It also refers to the books that you read and some of the people that you hang around with. So number one, it starts with your thinking. Number two, it starts with your vision. There's a phrase that I read. It says, without a vision, people cast off restraint. What is a vision? A vision is a view of where you see yourself. Okay, so this is my vision. This vision was a vision that was actually originally created in 2003. This vision was originally created in 2003. It was a 5-year plan for 2008. If you notice on the vision, there was my book, which is Kill Your Giants. There was a purpose and there was a why in terms of what I wanted to do. So my purpose was help people through music, through poetry, and through speaking. I wanted to give to the poor. I wanted to live my dreams, and I wanted to help others do the same. I wanted to spread the gospel. I wanted to get married. I wanted to have a son. There's a house here. There's poetry here. There's a restaurant here. There is, and there's CDs here. So there's a big, and then there's a theme here of empowerment, and then there's also a theme here of excellence. Everything that I wanted to do it with excellence, and I wanted to have a theme of empowering people. That was very important for me. Now, this piece of paper wasn't just a piece of paper. This was my dream wall. This is my dream wall. The great thing about this is that, okay, the poetry, this got done. There's multiple poetries or frames of my poetry in people's homes across Boston. This came out, the book, some of you guys have it, Kill Your Giants. This came out in 2007. I did get married, didn't get the restaurant, did get some marketing done, didn't get the music done, but 80% of what I wanted to accomplish on here, I accomplished. And here's the great thing. Out of writing this book, other things came to fruition. I'm so glad you said that, because and we're definitely going to go back and forth on that. Sure. I can honestly do a show just on that. Sure. Because it makes me think about, honestly, the very first thing that God said. Yeah. He said, you know what, I've created you to rule and have dominion over everything. And I did a short little study on that word rule, and it means government, directors, and kings. That's right. And I think that if the state of the economy, the state of the world is really on the Christian. Sure. Because God said if my people, he didn't say if all people, if Christians were on Wall Street, then we wouldn't have this problem. Absolutely. Because we wouldn't have a greed problem, because our heart is in check with him. And so I think it's vital to have Christians that are wealthy, so that they can distribute the wealth and they can kind of be like, hey, listen, we're in charge because we know what to do with it. Sure. Would you guys agree with that? Right. And prosperity, keeping in mind that prosperity is success, and I think it's the responsibility of Christians to be the forerunners in business, so that we can rule properly. Absolutely. You know, one of the reasons why I'm doing this show is because I remember reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And after I read it, to be perfectly honest, I was infuriated with two entities, the school system and the church. Because I was like, okay, I'm 30, and why am I just finding out about this information? Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so to me, it doesn't make sense to go to school and not find out about, you know, because and then to me, financial prosperity too is you know, to me, is how to obtain good credit. You know what I'm saying? The difference between renting and owning. You know, what does having a good credit score mean? What does that mean for your future? If you have bad credit, let's teach you how to manage money. Right. Let's teach you how to, if you save, you know what, I heard if you save 10% or $100 at 10 to 12%, since from let's say being a teenager to you're 65, you're a millionaire. Right. Boy, I wish somebody would have told me that when I was, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm talking about in terms of financial prosperity, and I think those things need to be taught in the church, because sometimes I'm like, okay, what are you telling me? Right. You know what I mean? Because money is a vital part of life. Right. It has been stated from a couple of different preachers that there are, I think, 500 scriptures on prayer, and 2,000 of them are on money. Sure. A pastor said this, to which I agree with. 20% of the people put in 80% of the work. It's true. 20% of a congregation give 80% of the money. It's true. So if 20% is giving 80% of the money, then, and 20% is doing 80% of the studying and the hard work and all that, then shouldn't the 20% receive? You know where I'm going.
Once we get fixed in, then we know what manhood is. And it's not just how many girls you have. And that was the thing, the women and the cars and the drugs and all that. But see, the thing is, I think you become a man when you can learn to be happy with you. Mm-hmm.
Right. And then the thing too also is that the women and then the cars and even the money, all that becomes a masquerade of you hurting and not dealing with the issues. And my thing is like, okay, real men need to deal with their issues. Face your stuff. You know what I'm saying? Face your issues. Deal with your giants, and then deal with them. conquer them.
Yes.
That way, once you do that, you can now help somebody else.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's
Instead of keep presenting this masquerade of I got it together, and you're really, really broken. You're hiding behind women, you're hiding behind money, you're hiding behind stuff, and it's no success in that.
That's right. That's right.
Welcome back. You're watching the Empowerment Zone. We are taking your calls at 617-708-3280. We're talking about redefining manhood. Also, this is my new book, Unlock Your Greatness. It is a book on questions and quotes. And here's the importance and the reason for this book. You're always one quote away from the next level. And you have no right to an answer for a question that you haven't asked. You ask better questions, you get better answers. And so quotes are power bars for the brain. People are always destroyed for a lack of knowledge. It's always knowledge. You show me a bad marriage, I show you a lack of knowledge. You show me someone who's in poor health, I show you a lack of knowledge. You show me whatever problem you have in life, it's always a lack of knowledge. So that's what this book is about. It's daily reminders for a year of empowerment. So let's look at today, actually, March 7th. So today is a question. Why don't you just tell me what's really going on and stop trying to dazzle me with all of your words? Can you do that for a brother?
That's pretty cool.
So let's get into fathers. Did you have a father?
Yeah, still do. He's still here.
Man, that's good.
Yep,
You
still have.
I didn't have a father growing up, and that was, oh my God, that was. I guess it was. I don't want to say devastating, but yeah, it was devastating because there was so. I think growing up, I just yearned for a father figure because I didn't know what was going on with me. You know what I'm saying? Like and then the importance of a man in another young man's life, and even in a girl's life for that matter, is that men define you. There was no one to define me. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, well, who am I, and how do I go through this life and this? And it was just kind of like, and it was like, where is my daddy? Why don't I have a daddy? Why don't I have someone that I can, you know what I'm saying? And that was that rattled my cage like for years, for years. Yeah. And it was very. There was always a void, and I don't think I really came into my own until I was probably in my 30s. When a father's presence is not here, there is a spiral downward negative effect. I think that the reason why I did not get caught up in a whole bunch of craziness, and I've had some of my friends die off of violent deaths, and just the only reason is because I was in the church, and I had a couple of men, literally, who were mentoring me, and honestly, I think I was a little afraid too of the whole street life and whatnot. And it was funny because there were some people that would call me punk and soft, but they're dead now. You know what I mean? So who's the real schmuck? You know what I'm saying? So what's my point in saying that? My point is that a father's presence is vital in a child's life. So even if the relationship doesn't work with the woman, you need to spend time with your child. I remember speaking to my sister's father, and he said to me, you know, Dave, you never give me any Christmas cards, any birthday cards, and I was like, dude, I didn't say dude, but I was like, you weren't there. You had a relationship with my mother, and then once that didn't, you left. All kids remember is your presence. Were you there? He wasn't there. And now he's old, and he's like, well, you don't come around, and you don't give me, and I'm like, mommy gets presents, and you weren't there. You don't have a relationship with me. You know what I mean? But now you want me to give you, and it's like, you weren't there.
Right.
All a child knows at the end of the day is, was you there? So I understand that the mother may be just doing some you know, they have this quote that says, "Hell has no fury like a